Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Alisha and this is my first vlog ever. I'm super excited. This is also my summerween vlog. So if you don't know what summerween is, it's basically a week-long readathon where you read kind of like horror, spooky, thriller vibe books. And it was originally created by Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte and Gabby from Gabby Reads. And yeah, basically just a fun time to bring like Halloween vibes into summertime. So I'm super excited about this because I don't normally read a lot of like horror books or like thrillers or mysteries and stuff like that. Even though I really love the genre, like I love watching horror movies and like psychological thrillers and things like that. I just for some reason don't end up reading a lot of them. So yeah, I'm super excited about this vlog and getting started with reading. It's currently July 2nd, so the first day of summerween, and I'm hoping to read a few books. Excuse the noise in the background. My neighbors have decided to be noisy right when I started filming, but that's fine, we can work with it. I'm probably gonna start reading soon. I have some work to finish and probably have some stuff to do like later, but in the meantime, let me tell you what books I'm hoping to read and the different prompts. So my first book that I am starting for summerween is Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. So I started this last night and I didn't really get too far into it, but so far I really like it. It has a lot of like spooky kind of creepy vibes so far, which is just really cool. And yeah, I'm reading this on like audio, so I'm hoping I'll get through it pretty quickly. And basically it's about, all I really know is that it's about this young woman whose cousin and husband live in this mansion in Mexico City, and I think there's like some problems between that couple or like some problems with the house or something, but basically this woman goes to their mansion to see what's up, and haunted things ensue. So sounds really cool and I'm liking it so far. And then I also hoping today to get to this, but this is Nocturna by Maya Motain, I think is how you pronounce that. But I'm technically reading this, oh I forgot to say, I'm reading this for the prompt of read a horror book because it's a horror haunted house type thing. And then so I'm reading this one technically for the make a spooky treat or drink with your read, but I don't know what I'm gonna make at all for this. I'm thinking like something fall-ish, like a drink or like coffee or something, but I don't really know what I have, so we'll see. I'll probably do that tonight if I get to it, otherwise tomorrow, but I'll definitely like start reading this. And yeah, basically all I really know about this is that it's a fantasy. It's like has magic, I think it has some murder and spooky vibes, and that's all I need to know. Also just an amazing cover, I love this cover. And then so the other books that I'm hoping to get to for summerween, so I have The Boneless Mercies by April Genevieve Tolk. I think it's a lot of difficult last names. But this I think I'm going to be reading for the prompt of read in the dark, so I don't know if I'm going to get to this today, if I'll start it, but I'm thinking I'll probably just read in the night and like you know, have like a nightlight on or something, and we'll see how that goes. And then I also have The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. So this is for the prompt of read a book with Halloween colors on the cover. We see a lot of black, also a lot of yellow, but we're just gonna focus on the black because I don't think yellow counts as a Halloween color, but I'm reading it for that prompt. But I'm really excited about this one. This is Peter Swanson obviously is like a really popular thriller writer, and so this is a thriller book. All I really know about this one is that it's about a man who has recently, I think, broken up with his girlfriend, and then he meets this woman at the airport, and then they start murdering together, something like that. I've heard a lot of great things about this though, so I'm super excited about getting to this one. And then I also have The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. So this is for the prompt of read a paranormal book, and yeah, there are vampires involved for sure, I know, in this one. And then I don't really know what else it's about, but it takes place in New Orleans, Louisiana, which obviously is like such cool culture and like a setting, so I'm excited about getting into this one. And then lastly, just like as a extra, or like in case I don't like some of those books or need another one, I have Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. So this I've heard a lot of kind of mixed things about. It kind of reminds me of Bunny by Mona Awad, because a lot of people who've read that book have talked about how like either you're gonna absolutely love it or you're just not gonna vibe with it at all. And so I've heard a lot about like kind of the same things about this one. And for Bunny, I have read it and I gave it 3 stars. I don't know, I didn't love it, but I didn't actually hate it. So I'm hoping, you know, I do like this one better. It's also like pretty short, and I think it's like a haunted house, dark academia type thing. So I'm definitely excited about this one as well. And yeah, I don't know when I'm gonna get to those ones, but definitely we're gonna get to these 2 today and hopefully finish this by tonight, if not tomorrow morning. But let's start reading. So I have actually started Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. So I started this last night actually, and it is July 2nd now. And so I think I got like only 10 to 15 pages in, but I definitely like the atmosphere so far. It's pretty spooky and like, I don't know, like just getting like the haunted house vibes. So loving that. And then I'm also hoping to start Nocturna by Maya Motain, hopefully today, because for Mexican Gothic I have the audiobook, so I'm gonna be listening to that. But for Nocturna I am gonna be physically reading it, and it's a pretty chunky book, so we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping to finish it in you know, a day or 2, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. But really excited about this one. So I just finished Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno Garcia, and honestly I don't know how I feel about it. I between like a 4 and a 5, which obviously means I really enjoyed it, but I mean there were a couple things, especially at the start, that I was a little like, it took me a while to get into it basically. So I think definitely the second half of this book was so amazing, like honestly such a page turner. I was completely invested in the story and like the atmosphere and the vibe and like sort of the mystery of like what was going on in this haunted house and stuff. So yeah, like I love the second half, and like the first, I don't know, maybe 100 pages or so just took a little while to get into, but once you get past that, I honestly think this book was amazing. But it's about a young woman named Noemi, who is her cousin, who is recently married to this kind of mysterious man, and she's living with him in this kind of like secluded town somewhere in Mexico. And so her cousin, whose name is Catalina, sends Noemi and her father a letter like being really weird and cryptic, and talking about like things she's hearing and these nightmares she's having while living in her husband Virgil's house. So Noemi's father is like, okay, you have to go and check out what's wrong with her, see if everything's okay, like if she needs psychiatric help, something like that. So she ends up going to this house as well. And so when she gets there, she realizes that a lot of weird things are happening, and like it's possible that Catalina, her cousin, is like, you know, there's something wrong with her, but also like slowly she kind of thinks that maybe it's haunted, or you know, there's ghosts or something's going on in this house. And so she's slowly trying to like unravel this mystery. And then at the same time, Virgil, Catalina's husband, is like really creepy and cryptic and is being like really weird with her. He's not like answering any of her questions. He's not letting her kind of see Catalina when she wants, and keeping her away from like basically all of his secrets. And then there's another guy named Francis, who is Virgil's cousin, who is much more like receptive to Noemi, but is also kind of mysterious. But she kind of befriends him and is able to get a few answers. And then so slowly things happen, and basically we find out that this house is haunted and like weird things are happening that Noemi has to solve and, you know, get away from and get her cousin away from. But obviously with every good horror book, things get in the way. So yeah, I don't know, I think I might just give this book a 4.5 because I really did love it, and I love so many parts of it, even though like the start was a bit slow because of the ending. And I did actually really enjoy the ending. Like I wasn't sure how I wanted it to end, because, you know, there's so many options of like keeping it really open or giving it kind of a like great kind of you know, boat like tying a bow around it and making a really good ending in that sense. So I didn't really know which way I wanted it to go, but I did like how it did end. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with 4.5. And this is the first book I finished for Summerween now, so definitely a bit slower than I want it to be. But I also have started Nocturna, which I don't have with me right now. But I'm doing that one. I'm reading that one right now, and I think I might start something tonight before I go to sleep, but I'm not sure yet what it will be, so we'll see. The other book that I had started was Nocturna by Maya Motain. So this book, I am about like 150 pages in, and I'm definitely really liking it so far. I didn't really have huge expectations for this. I didn't really know what it was about even when I started it, but I really do like it. And I'm hoping to finish it by tomorrow, but it is like almost 500 pages, so I don't know how realistic that is, but we'll see. But so far, what I know about this book is that it is about a young man who is supposed to be the heir to this to the throne of his kingdom, and his brother, who was the actual heir, recently has died, or he thinks he's disappeared. So Alfie, who is the supposed to be the prince, is kind of like finding a way to find his brother, and his brother supposedly was sent into this like void or something by this like, I guess, witch person with magic something. And then on the other side there's another character named Finn, who is a thief, and there's actually a really interesting ability where she has like magic that she can kind of change her face and how she looks. So she's like never, like she hasn't even seen her own face and what she looks like in like 2 years or something. And so yeah, so far those are 2 characters. Also, they're like the whole magic system, I'm really actually liking this book. It's really interesting and unique. It's basically this kind of like, every person has some kind of magical ability that has to do with like elements. So like Alfie the prince has like water magic, and like everybody has, you know, people have fire magic, things like that. But they also have this thing called, I think, propio, which is like this personal magic that is like unique for each person, and they can be like the Finn character, she like her magic of like being able to change her face is her propio. And I'm kind of unsure of like what Alfie's is, but it seems like it's this kind of thing where he can like detect what other people's magic is, so like that's useful to him. So yeah, definitely this whole world is really interesting. It also is clearly like Latino inspired, so I'm not sure exactly if it's like Mexican or something, but it has a lot of elements of like Spanish language and culture and things like that, so I am loving that. And then I also really love the whole just royalty aspect. I've always have loved like those elements in books, so it's been really interesting reading it. So because I'm kind of like been reading slower than I wanted, I'm thinking I might start another book tonight. And so I have some options. I'm thinking either of starting Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. I do have the audiobook for this, so it might be easier to actually start this. And then my other option is The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. So this one, I definitely am leaning towards this one. It is a thriller and it just sounds really cool. It's basically about this guy who recently, I think, broke up with his girlfriend, and then he's at the airport and he meets this woman who somehow, some way, they, I think, either start like murdering together, or like he finds out that she's a murderer or something. So it definitely sounds cool and interesting. Catherine House, I don't know, I've heard like mixed things about this and like about the vibe of this book, so I don't know, like I don't know how much I'm gonna love it, so I don't know if I want to start it just yet. But definitely probably gonna start one of those tonight, so I guess I'll check back in tomorrow and see where we're at. So quick update here, I am about halfway through The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson, and I took me a second to like kind of get into it and get started with it. Not because it was like necessarily slow. I just feel like there's kind of like a lot of backstory with some of these characters, and so I feel like it took a little while for the actual like, you know, thriller aspect and like murder aspects to like kick in. But once they did, this has been a roller coaster ride ever since. And like I said, I'm like halfway through, and there are like so many twists and so many things I really wasn't expecting, so I absolutely love that. And then I think like the pacing and the writing is just really captivating and really interesting. So it's doing a good job of like keeping me guessing and like wondering. And like I said, like the twists that have happened so far, at least, I absolutely was not expecting. So I'm definitely like have been surprised and like shocked by what we've kind of slowly found out. But basically, this book is about a man named Ted who is on a flight, and he recently found out that his wife is cheating on him. And so on his flight, he meets this woman named Lily, who kind of is like talking about how murdering people isn't actually necessarily like morally bad. And so she's like, you know, some people deserve it. And so Ted is kind of like, as a joke, saying that like he wants to kill his wife because he found out that she was cheating on him. And so Lily's like, okay, bet, let's do it. And so now they're kind of like working together to kill Ted's wife. And so there's like so much backstory and stuff going on with like Ted and Lily and their own kind of past and what, like, how they've gotten to this point, let's say. And so it's definitely like a really cool psychological thriller, and I'm really excited to see where it's gonna go and what more we're gonna find out. And then on a bit of a separate note, I just want to say that I started watching, I think it's called Fear Street 1994, Fear Street 1994 on Netflix, and it's this like recent horror movie that was released, I think like literally like yesterday or like today or something. But it's like this, I don't want to say it's like a corny horror movie, but it's giving me a lot of like obviously like 90s horror movie vibes and like Scream vibes. It's basically it's like it takes place in this place called Shady Side, and it's this like really rundown and like bad neighborhood. A lot of bad things have happened there. And then on the other side there's Sunnyside or Sunnyville or something like that, which is like this really affluent neighborhood. And so they're kind of like rivals, and their high school like football teams are rivals and all that good stuff. But in Shady Side, there has been a recent like serial killer who murdered a bunch of people in a mall, and he was killed. But suddenly there are a lot more like murders taking place, specifically to like targeted towards this like group of kind of misfit students from this high school at Shady Side. And there's like a lot of like, you know, relationship dynamics and friend dynamics and stuff going on. But I don't know, I just thought this would be a fun movie to start, just because of like, you know, summerween vibes and like horror vibes and stuff like that. So it's definitely like a fun movie. So if you haven't seen it, I would recommend it. I think it's like just a fun time. Like, it's not necessarily super scary. There are like a couple jump scares, but if you're just looking for like a chill fun time, definitely check this movie out. So what I'm currently about to do is basically like reorganize my bookshelves, because you can see here I have a huge pile of books that have been piling up for a while. So I have some like new books that I got, and then like some just reorganizing that I want to do, as well as I'm actually unhauling a few books, which I will show in a second. So yeah, that's the plan. And then while I'm doing that, I'm also probably going to listen to the audiobook for this. I have about, I think like 30, maybe 25% left, so almost done. So firstly, I am unhauling Circe by Madeline Miller. I just love this cover. It's so beautiful. But I read this book and I think I gave it 4 stars in the end, but I'm not ever gonna read it again. And the writing was absolutely beautiful, but I don't know, like just something about it that I was like, okay, like it's so amazing, you know, that first time reading it, but I'm just not gonna read it again, and I don't really care for it after that first time reading it. So yeah, gonna get a new home. Okay, and then next I have The Shadow and Bone, the whole trilogy actually. So I have Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising. So these are like the new, I guess, covers, the paperback covers, And again, just really beautiful covers. I actually recently read Shadow and Bone before the TV show came out, and I liked it. I just didn't love it. And again, like, I don't think I'm ever gonna read it again. And I feel like because I didn't read it when, you know, they first came out when I was like, I don't know, back in like junior high or high school or whatever, like I don't really have that like nostalgic aspect, so it doesn't really mean as much to me. So yeah, I don't really mind unhauling these. And then along those lines, I'm also unhauling The Language of Thorns, also by Leigh Bardugo. So these are, I believe, like a collection of short stories based in the Shadow and Bone universe, but I never read this, but I don't think I will like ever read it. So yeah, definitely can find a better home. And then lastly, which might be controversial, but I am getting rid of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue because I read this at the start of the year and I didn't like it. I think I gave it 2 stars and I never want to read it again. And yeah, it just wasn't good in my opinion. I have done a few like rants about why I think that, but basically I just think V. Schwab could have done such a better job of like character development and like world building in terms of like what Addie LaRue experienced in her 300 years of being alive, as well as like, you know, diversity problems and things like that. So yeah, just not a favorite and not something I'm ever gonna read again, so getting rid of it.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
So this is the final look, I guess. I did like switch some things around and gave some moments to a couple of like my current favorite books. But yeah, this is what we got. I love this. I got this from a friend from Paris, and it works perfectly with The Guild of Wolves. If you've read that book, you know it takes place in Paris, so perfect. And then I didn't really like come up with a system of organizing. I guess I wanted to, but yeah, this is just kind of anything that fit just went somewhere. I did try to keep like books from the same authors or like series together, which it definitely is a pet peeve when series are not together, so we definitely tried to do that. And then this shelf is a bit of like my favorites, although I haven't read Ace of Spades yet and I really want to, or Haunted by the Sky. But other than that, these are some of my favorite series or my favorite books, or especially this one. If you haven't read this book, it's absolutely amazing. You totally should. But yeah, that's what's going on there. And then down here, again, don't really know what I was going for. Just anything that fit. I did have to move a few books like horizontal to get it to fit. And then I also don't know if I really like, but like when paperbacks are between hardbacks, I kind of like to keep my paperbacks separate, but that wasn't really working, so that's what we went for. This I tried to do a bit of like color coding, but like not really, so just again whatever fit. I also don't love it when the like bigger books like mix in with smaller books, but I just don't have enough room, so yeah. And then down here I do have a few like it's like most of my contemporaries and romance, but not all of them, so yeah, just everything's all over the place. But that's the final look for now, and we're just gonna go with it. So I did just finish The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. So I really enjoyed this book. I had a really good time reading it. I feel like a lot of the plot twists were really unexpected, and each time something kind of happened and I was like, oh okay, like the story's gonna go in this direction, it kind of went in this other direction. So that was really great, and I loved the characters. I loved Lily, the main character, and I also love the fact that like she's, you know, a woman, and a lot of times women in like these kind of stories where you have like killers and serial killers and things like that, we don't really see like women doing that, which I mean, not great that women are killing or whatever, but I just thought it was a like interesting change from like the normal idea of like, you know, men do these things. So that was really interesting. I also really loved Miranda as a character, and I love seeing how her story kind of tied in with everybody else and like the, I guess, like main storyline. And then the ending was fantastic. I think it was completely unexpected in a really interesting way, and it left things pretty open, which I also really loved, because you know, you don't really know what to expect at the end, and like you still have questions, which is really fun. So I gave this book 4 stars in the end, only because like there were a few things that maybe could have been better, but overall it was so fun. I had such a great time reading it, and honestly might be one of my favorite thrillers ever now. So also I have just finished Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas, and I don't even know if I talked about starting this book, but I was listening to it on audio, so I kind of flew by. I started it yesterday and finished it today, and I'm kind of upset because I honestly really wanted to like this book, and I had pretty high expectations because I know a lot of people, like, even though people are saying it's kind of like you either hate it or love it type of thing, like a lot of people have loved it, but I did not enjoy this book. I don't get the point of it. Like, maybe I'm just stupid, but like I feel like, I don't know, again, like I'm gonna compare it to Bunny because I feel like it has the same kind of, I don't know, like dark academia but like confusing vibe, but like I wasn't sure about Bunny, and like while reading it I like didn't love it, but I gave it 3 stars, and I still kind of like saw a theme or like a message in the book, and like it felt kind of like satirical in a sense, whereas this book, there's a dog, whereas this book I just, like, a lot of things were going on, and I feel like, I don't know, like there's a bit of like, I guess like a Get Out vibe, because like if you read the book, like there's kind of like some experimental stuff going on, and like, you know, consent and all that, but yeah, I don't know, like I didn't get a point, I didn't get the message, I didn't connect or care about any of the characters, and I feel like the story itself was just very all over the place. Like I don't even know if this is making sense, but I'm giving this book, I think, 2 stars, and I just did not have a good time with it. I didn't like it.
We'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest, echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
So today's July 8th, and I'm not sure if I filmed anything yesterday, but I didn't really do a lot of reading, and we are at the end of summerween, so I wanted to do basically a quick little check-in and wrap up of what I read and kind of what I've ranked everything. So let's see how I technically finished 3 books. The summerween, not my ideal. I did want to try to finish all 5 but I think because I picked kind of longer books, didn't really work out, and I also had a pretty busy week, so wasn't able to read as much, I guess. But what I did finish first was Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. So I really love this book. I gave it, in the end, I think I'm gonna give it a 4.5. It definitely completely hooked me in. I love the atmosphere. I love the like gothic, darker themes and vibes. I love the writing. I absolutely love SGM's writing in general. I think it's really descriptive and beautiful, but like in a way straight to the point. So you kind of like, you get lost in her kind of flowery descriptions and writing, but you also completely understand what she's trying to say, which I absolutely love. I also just loved the themes of this book in terms of like, there's a lot of talking about colonialism and racism and colorism and things like eugenics. So I thought that was really done in a interesting and intriguing way. So yeah, I really overall enjoyed this book and highly recommend it. And then I also read Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. Now this book, on the other hand, I didn't love at all, pretty much. I don't really see the point. I think I initially gave it 2 stars. I'm gonna keep that rating, although I did kind of look at some videos of other people who've read the book, and like, as well as the authors, some of her interviews where she actually talks about her ideas behind the book. So I thought it was really interesting to see that the purpose of this book was actually kind of talking about how elite institutions and their effect on a lot of marginalized and like people of color who go into those institutions. So the author was talking about her grandfather who went to Yale, had a really bad time at Yale, and like dealt with a lot of discrimination and racism. And then her father also went to Yale, and he dropped out because of those reasons, and he explicitly told his daughter not to go to Yale, and she ended up going to Yale. And then so she was like talking about how that system kind of sucks you in and causes all these feelings of like isolation and like striving to do your best but in an unhealthy way, I guess. So I did see those themes in this book, but I just think it wasn't done in a great way or like a convincing way. Like, I feel like she didn't really do the things she set out to do. At least that's my opinion. So I'm gonna stick with my 2 stars for this, and I just didn't really like it. And then I also read The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson, which I gave 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was a thriller. I loved the like characters. I loved the kind of ambiguous ending in a way, and I loved the like kind of like dealing with morality and like these characters and their feelings and why they're doing these things. I also love the idea of having a woman at the center of the story and like being the serial killer, because I feel like you don't really see that a lot in like thrillers or books like, you know, dealing with murder and things like that. So I love that. And that book had like, I want to say like 2 or 3 plot twists that I just completely wasn't expecting, so I really enjoyed that. And overall it was a really fun book. And quickly, I just want to talk about a book that I had started. I think almost 200 pages into this book, so I'm definitely wanting to finish it, just not in time for summerween. But I really love this book and I'm loving it so far. It basically has to do with like kind of incorporating Latino culture, and I think it takes place in like some Latin inspired world, so I really love that aspect. I also love the characters. I love this book kind of deals with like fantasy royal family and things like that. Yeah, and so far I'm loving this book, and hopefully we'll finish it sometime. So that's all for me for this summerween. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you liked this vlog, and I absolutely loved joining in this readathon. I had so much fun. I loved most of the books that I read, and yeah, see you guys next time.
We'll go